and welcome to Catalan News. Reinstating Carles Puigdemont as Catalan president. This is the common goal set by the two main pro-independence parties. The Junts per Catalunya and Esquerra Republicana candidacies announced today an agreement to swear in Puigdemont. But how is still the big question. He remains in Belgium and proposes to be appointed at a distance. It'd be an unprecedented move, and the parliament regulations don't specify whether it's legal or not. But the opposition parties are ready to challenge the idea if it is carried out. In our show today, we will talk about the latest news in politics and the judiciary, and we'll also look into a controversy involving the Three Kings Eve parades that took place last week. How might Carles Puigdemont be sworn in as Catalan president is under discussion one more day, both in Catalonia and in Brussels. Yesterday evening, the Belgian capital hosted a dinner between Puigdemont and the Secretary General of Esquerra, Marta Rovira, and the outcome of this meal is quite relevant. Both parties agreed on a common path ahead of the crucial next weeks.
Together for Catalonia and the other major pro-independence party Esquerra today announced an agreement to do their best to reinstate Carles Puigdemont as president. Yet he is still in Brussels and is likely to be arrested and jailed if he returns to Catalonia. Thus, Puigdemont proposes being sworn in at a distance. He would defend his candidacy for president in Parliament via video or through an MP representing him in the debate. But is that viable? Esquerra's legal services are to study the proposal to see if it is possible. Oriol Junqueras' party also said that they expect the Parliament's lawyers to have their say. The parties against independence, though, are also against Puigdemont being sworn in at a distance. Some branded the proposal as illegal, while others played it down as not serious.
El cumplimiento del reglamento no se acuerda o no en Bélgica comiendo mejillones. Es decir, el cumplir el reglamento no es algo sobre lo que uno pueda decidir si lo hace o no en Bélgica o de la justicia.
The third party in favour of a Catalan state, the far-left CUP, has 4 seats. They are essential for the pro-independence forces to have a majority in the parliament and form a government. In a press conference today, CUP party officials said that they won't throw a spanner in the works for Together for Catalunya and Esquerra, but on one condition.
Reiterem el nostre emplaçament a Junts per Catalunya i Esquerra Republicana per tal que es comprometin amb la unilateralitat, que és l'única via possible per tal de materialitzar la república.
January the 17th is the date set for the Parliament opening session. The Chamber Bureau members will then be appointed, with the debate to pick a president to be held by January the 31st. While the pro-independence parties have the majority of seats ahead of the upcoming votes, 8 of their MPs are either in prison or in Brussels, making things more difficult for them.
Puigdemont said yesterday that he can't return to Catalonia right now because his appointment as president might be blocked if he does so. He is very unlikely to set foot in the Catalan hemicycle anytime soon, but he could turn up in another one in the coming weeks. The pro-independence Flemish party, N-VA, wants to invite him to the Flemish Chamber of Representatives. The proposal is for him to speak at the Foreign Affairs Committee of their parliament to talk about the political situation in Catalonia. If the majority of forces in the chamber agree, the Catalan deposed president might take part in the debate in the near future. The same party has also proposed inviting the Spanish ambassador in Belgium, although she wouldn't speak the same day as the Catalan leader. Puigdemont is one of the 8 elected MPs very unlikely to be present at the opening session of the Catalan Parliament next week. The pro-independence majority is at risk if none of them attend the debate and aren't replaced. That's why today, Esquerra's president, Oriol Junqueras, made a move from prison. He aims to be closer to his relatives and to vote as an MP in the upcoming sessions.
Oriol Junqueras asked the Spanish Supreme Court to be transferred to a Catalan prison. The Catalan vice president's lawyer also requested the Spanish court to allow his client to attend the opening session in the Catalan parliament, which will be held on January 17th, as well as the debate to select the next president to be held on January 31st. The arguments for the request include a reference to the United Nations Nelson Mandela rules for the treatment of prisoners, which state that non-convicted prisoners are presumed to be innocent and shall be treated as such. The Spanish Supreme Court is also to decide on other Catalan leaders' freedom tomorrow. Pro-independence grassroots leaders Jordi Sánchez and Jordi Cuixart and Home Affairs Minister Joaquim Forn will testify. Yet, the most likely outcome is for the Catalan leaders to be kept in jail, as the Spanish Supreme Court ruled for the incarcerated vice president last week. Meanwhile, the Spanish Constitutional Court accepted to consider an appeal presented by the political party Podemos against the enforcement of Article 155. Next, Spanish magistrates will decide whether all measures provided by the Spanish constitutional provision, including the dismissal of Catalan government members and the dissolution of the parliament, should be rescinded.
Let's change topic now. Controversy has arisen over the past few days involving the Three Kings Eve parade on January 5th. Many social media users, as well as NGOs, have expressed outrage at the fact that white people were painted black to represent the King Balthazar in several towns.
For many Catalan children, it's not Santa Claus who is responsible for bringing them presents during the Christmas holidays. It's the Three Wise Men, or Three Kings as they are known locally, with most towns holding parades to greet their arrival on Epiphany Day. But anti-racism activists are speaking out against celebrations where the Black King is portrayed by a white person with dark face paint, a practice which they say reminds them of blackface, used in the United States more than a century ago to portray slaves in a comedic way. Girona, north of Catalonia, is one of the biggest towns where blackface is still in use. Local politicians criticize the city council for not putting more pressure on organizers to include black Catalans as well, just like many Catalan towns are already doing. Such is the case for Barcelona. In the Catalan capital, the Union of Unlicensed Street Sellers, most of whom are African, states a protest by painting their faces white. One of its members, Dauda Dieye, is a Senegalese who's lived in Catalonia for 12 years. He says that if integration is the goal, these kind of practices are not the way to go.
Es horrible, te sientes como enfadado, te sientes triste, te sientes con rabia, ¿sabes? Te sientes muchas cosas. Yo personalmente me siento como humillados y poniendo vallas, diciendo que este tío no puede entrar en mi tierra, pero yo ahora me voy a intentar ser como él. Y ser como negro no es fácil.
Organizations like SOS Racisme have been denouncing the parades for many years and highlight the importance of understanding that these behaviors are racist.
Racism is not an opinion. Okay, racism is violation of rights, it's violence. And then if just one person says that blackface is offensive, then we have to reconsider our actions and why are we doing this.
Officials in Girona are to meet with organizers to ask them once again to include black participants in next year's parades. While in the past the demand has gone unheeded, they assure that this time they will be much less flexible.
Despite this controversy, the Three Kings Eve parade is still one of the many attractions that tourists can enjoy while visiting this country. In fact, Catalonia has long been a favourite tourist destination for people from all over the world. Whether they come to enjoy the food, mull over Catalan wine, or contemplate the architecture, millions of tourists come to the country every year. In 2017, 19 million people visited Catalonia from abroad. This is an increase of 5.5% compared to 2016, which was good news for the economy, as tourists spent a total of just over 19 billion euros. The number of visitors from the USA increased by nearly 30%, while 22% more people came from Russia. All this despite a drop in tourism in the last quarter of the year, according to the World Tourism Organization. This was put down to the August terrorist attacks, which saw 16 people brutally killed, most of whom were holidaymakers, and also the ongoing political dispute between Spain and Catalonia. This reached crisis point last October during the Spanish police violence. However, the organization was optimistic for 2018, with tourism expected to grow once again. Throughout Catalonia, there is a massive effort underway to recover the historical memory and gain closure from the Spanish Civil War and the Franco dictatorship. Included in this movement is the exhumation of mass graves, such as those undertaken by the Catalan government. But smaller communities are also participating, including a northern seaside town, Sant Feliu de Guíxols. A group of amateur photographers is set to soon release a documentary called Las Nenas de la Guerra, or The Little Girls of the War. It collects the testimonies of 12 women who lived through these terrible years as children. It aims not to discover, but instead to show what a child suffers in a time of conflict, much like those of today. In a pre-showing in the town itself, the protagonists of the film attended, and for them, sharing their stories and their trauma was a cathartic but very emotional experience.
Que l'avió se decantava metrallant. Anava metrallant. Sentíem les bales, que allò no es pot explicar. No podré explicar-ho mai. Em vaig veure morta, me vaig emocionar molt.
What a touching testimony. That's all for us today, but before we go, the circus is coming to town, but not until March 23rd when the Cirque du Soleil brings its totem spectacle to the Catalan capital. However, if you can't wait until then, an exhibition has just opened entitled Totem Behind the Scenes. It's free and runs till February. Here's a sneak preview of the big show. Enjoy it and see you tomorrow. Way,